Hey everybody, this is the officially unofficial Geek Channel. My name is Carrie Quinn and I am here to talk to you about what I just watched, House of the Dragon, and also got some comic book reviews as well. Gonna give it a minute so that anyone can join if they want to. If not, we're gonna get started and we're gonna dive into it. If you weren't already aware, I went and I was live tweeting watching Game of Thrones. My cats are going nuts right now. You may hear that. They knocked something over just now over that way. And yeah, they're being rambunctious. The little one, Kaylee, even has a puffy tail. So she something frightened her, I think, and I think I know exactly what it is. Yeah, and she's discovering it now. I love my little baby girl and my baby boy. Oh golly. So speaking of baby familiars, guys, Game of Thrones with the dragons. What's really great, number one, about House of Dragons is we did not have to wait an entire season to see dragons. We did not, but I'm pretty gosh darn happy the fact that we got to see some dragons. I love dragons. It's one of my favorite mythical characters ever. Let's see here. Yeah. Anyways, so my internet actually gave out a couple times, and not necessarily my internet, excuse me. My connection to HBO Max kind of flubbed up a couple times, so it's like I got a little pause in it. But I gotta tell you guys, it was supposed to be on at 8 p.m. Central Time, available to watch, and I jumped the gun. I jumped the gun and I hit play about 2 minutes till, and it worked. Well, actually, it gave me a little bit of like a trailer for HBO Max and HBO offerings, and then it jumped into the episode. But even then, when it jumped in, it was still technically 1 minute from the start. So that's cool. My initial reaction to this is it seems like it's going to come at us with the same kind of idea of internal espionage. And honestly, when I was watching Game of Thrones before, I got really more into the whole mythos of Westeros a lot more than a lot of people probably did. But with all the time that has gone on between the end of Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon, I have pretty much forgotten a lot of shit. A little moments here and there kind of gave me a little bit of like, oh, they mentioned this, oh, they mentioned that. And if you were to look at my my live stream, you would definitely see that. One of the things I had forgotten the major importance of Valerian steel until I heard them talking about the famed Dark Sister. Now, guys, if you are a fan of the mythos of Westeros and Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire, which I used to be, and I haven't really thought about it in a long time, like I said. So I'm going to actually, if I decide to keep up with this, I think I might, I'm going to give it a little bit to, yeah, I probably like it. First impression, I probably like it. Second thought upon that is it because I actually like the show or because I like dragons? One has to wonder. There's a possibility of both, actually, as well. Um, oh, man. So, yeah, we mentioned Dark Sister. Also, upon the belt of King Viserys, you had the cat's paw dagger. Now, guys, if you do not remember, the cat's paw dagger is another vehicle of Valyrian steel. That one being a little tired, guys. Yeah, I am yawning. I'm sorry. The cat's paw dagger, if you remember correctly, way back a few years back to the end of Game of Thrones, the cat's paw dagger was the dagger that was on the belt of Arya Stark. The item that Arya Stark used to kill the Night King. Spoiler alert. So that was kind of fun. I am a fan of the dragons and I am a fan of the steel. So yeah. The mention of Dark Sister, the seeing the cat's paw dagger, getting the whole like, oh cool. It basically what you have here is you have moments in the show that people can relate to and recognize, specifically the cat's paw dagger. You've got the definitely you got dragons right from Jump Street, and so the connection to all of that is going to be for a casual viewer is going to be a little bit easier to connect the two, because especially if you remember, definitely right there you have the goddamn dagger that killed the Night King. Okay, so right there you have it right there. So that was pretty cool. So there's this whole thing at the beginning of the show where we find out that basically it's definitely a patriarchal society. Surprise, surprise. We're not surprised. It is a patriarchal society in which a woman cannot rule. A woman cannot be the ruler of Westeros. And not necessarily out of clear cut rules on paper or in stone, but due to the fact of tradition, I'm assuming. I'm just going to shift in my seat here a little bit. The tradition being that men rule. So when King Viserys had his firstborn child, and it was a girl, obviously he had to try again. And this is kind of where we're at when House of the Dragon starts. So his wife is pregnant. He is sure it's going to be a boy. Like, he's feeling lucky. Okay. And she is about ready to give birth. So they're going to celebrate this all by having a tournament, right? So they have this tournament, and she goes into labor. And here is where we get, you know what? Screw that. Guys, we get a little bit weird and screwy right from the beginning. One, patriarchal society cannot have a queen. Two, you have Daemon Targaryen. Oh my goodness. Oh, that was Matt Smith, guys. I'm a Doctor Who fan, okay? Matt Smith coming in and being a skeezy little Daemon Targaryen. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. He is the head of the City Watch, mostly because it seems like he is a black sheep. Can't really do anything with him. We just keep on, passing him on job to job, and hopefully something sticks. We're gonna take it. We're gonna throw it at the wall, and maybe it sticks to the wall. And so they give him the City Watch. And I swear to God, I think we saw someone's little dragon get chopped off. Okay. So the one thing I will say is there was no shortage of gruesome, grotesque stuff right there. We have the whole idea that Daemon Targaryen is supposed to be the heir, and it's because there is no natural born son of the king yet. Daemon Targaryen is the brother of the king, so he should be the heir, right? But you have the fact that other people were passed up for this, and come on, guys, it's Game of Thrones. It's Game of Thrones. Come on. So they're in the middle of this, I'm not even gonna talk to you. I'm not gonna talk to you about how weird it was to see Matt Smith in a King's Landing brothel doing it doggy style with somebody. No. I'm not gonna talk to you about how weird that was, except to say it was really, really weird. But okie dokie. So you have this tournament where, guys, the queen has gone into labor. And it's not working out for her. And the maesters tell the king, hey, here's the thing that we have this new thing, and we can do it, but we really haven't perfected it so that both the child and mother can live, but we definitely would be able to pull your son out of the womb. So basically it's a cesarean. Okay. But they've pretty much guaranteed that the queen is not going to live through this. If they choose to do that, the queen is not going to live through this. And they choose to cut the kid out. And by the way, the king makes that decision. You can save my son? Well, yeah, sure, we can try, but she's definitely going to be dead when this is over with, guys. She is definitely going to be dead. Yeah, let's save the kid. Screw the woman. Isn't that how it is? But so yeah, okay. So you have your sister passed up for becoming queen over you. You have your brother which is your next in line. He's your younger brother, Damon. And you have a daughter that's about teenage, age. Could be perfectly all right to be queen. Seems all right so far. Let's cut the kid out. Well, fortunately for the king, it was not the right decision to make. And not only did the queen die, but also the son. And yes, dragons. Overall, dragons. I feel like we had a good, healthy dose of the dragons in this episode. A good, healthy dose. Not to the point where it was, this is Dragons Are Us. But we had a good, healthy dose of the Boom Boom Fire Kitties in this episode. I can say that I was very on board with. They did the cesarean type thing, and I gotta tell you, man, that got a bit gruesome. That got a bit. I'm gonna have to say I could have dealt without that. And by the way, I did not say hello yet, but hi, sweetie. He is actually Bizarro Fed is not in the building, but that's okay. He is joining us from afar this evening, and hi. So that whole cesarean scene, guys, I need to see I would love to see the budget for this episode. Okay, so how much did they spend on the fake blood? Because it was gushing. It was grotesque. I am not exactly sure that really was needed. But okay. All right. So the not only the queen is dead, the son also dies. And they have the funeral, and little lady Targaryen, her dragon, is the one that gets to flambe everyone. It was not clear. One thing I'm going to say is it was not clear at first that the son also died. It could have been a little bit more clear. But I kind of caught on like a couple minutes later. So Daemon Targaryen is hanging out with his city watch in the brothel, and he makes a statement that where he toasts the son, the dead baby as heir for an hour. This is one of those moments where it's like, y'all don't give him too much wine because he is just gonna. It's like the weird uncle at a wedding, like, oh crap, somebody gave him too much wine. Everybody gave them his champagne a little early, and now he is just off the rails making some weird statement. It of course gets back to the king, and the king is like, bitch, say what? Okay. And the king is like, hey, you need to just go. Just get the fuck out. Because you are no longer my heir. I'm going to name my daughter as my heir. Which we are going to see exactly what this whole power struggle does. Because in all honesty, when you see the beginning of the show and you see the interaction between the daughter, that's now the heir, and the brother who's her uncle, the interaction is actually amicable. Like they get along, and it's not just getting along because, well, it's proper. No, they're actually seeming to get along. So one will have to wonder what happens there. One will have to wonder what happens when you have the other people that got passed up for the throne and their families getting involved as well. So that will be interesting. That'll be interesting to check out at some point. Anyways, guys, that is Game of Thrones. Let's go ahead and we're going to talk about some comics. So I was not on here last week. So this is our stack of comics. We're going to try to get through these. I haven't put them in any real. Normally, I put them in a particular order. I haven't really put them in a particular order at this point. We're gonna get through this and talk about them because I don't really want to have you guys here forever. If you happen to be watching, and if you're watching the replay, I don't want you to have to be around here forever. So let's go ahead. Let's overall Game of Thrones a little bit grotesque in places. Game of Thrones House of the Dragon, excuse me. Well, Game of Thrones, yes, grotesque in places. House of the Dragon, a little bit grotesque in places, and it'll be interesting to see where this goes. We'll have to see. Anyways, kind of up in the air whether I will continue to live tweet in the future. This might have just been every once in a while I'll do that kind of thing. Okay, so let's do this. First comic I'm going to talk to you about, this is from last week. This is Superman, Son of Kal-El, number 14. Pretty solid issue, I think. I really like the fact that we have revolutionaries in this. I love the revolutionaries. I love that Jay is finally getting his due here. Jay has one. They got Jay a costume. Check that shit out. Two, it's one of those things where it's like there are certain couples in comic history and comic industry right now, like couples, like characters that are in relationships, such as Jay and John Kent, that two people being equals. And you really get in the point where you have Jay, who is like, okay, here's the thing. I have abilities too. You don't always have to hold on to me like you do. And I got this. Basically, it's like, Jay being able to be here and sit there and say like, hey, dude, I got this. And I like that. I like that we have that a little bit. We have, of course, the ending where they are able to locate Jay's mom. But unfortunately, she has now been also made post-human. And it's not looking good. Like it's looking downright upsetting. Where we have... That's Jay's mom, guys. That's not fun. That's not fun at all. But solid, nothing overly exciting, but solid development issue. Let's talk about Harley Quinn number 19. So we're in the middle of this weekly Harley Quinn event, weekly event, kind of like going on just this month of August, culminating in one, the Harley Quinn annual, and then two, the Harley Quinn 30th anniversary special. So this is not really all that exciting. The whole thing. Like, is this an event? Why are we going weekly on this? Are we trying to save time? Is this just because Harley Quinn is turning 30 this year? What is this? What is this? What is the point? So we have a lot of puke humor in this one. We have their arrival on the moon, and we have this element 10, this 10th metal element is starting to, well, attack all of them. The first one that it attacks is Lashida from the New Gods, and it's pretty bad. Overall, there's not a lot. Like, I feel like there's things going on here, but I also feel like there's not enough going on here for them to really have a weekly event type thing, and it's not really even an event, guys. Can we really qualify this as an event? It's not horrible, but it's just really a slow burn here. And guys, wait, I need to figure something out because looking ahead, it was not picking up that much. Next thing we're going to talk about Dark Crisis Worlds Without a Justice League Green Lantern. Okay, so what we've established in other Worlds Without a Justice League, we also have a Hawk Girl story as well. What we've established with other Worlds Without a Justice League installments throughout this Dark Crisis is that we have all of the members of the Justice League that were killed by Pariah's machine are all kind of stuck in their little dreamlands where they are, getting to do these, cool things, what they would want to do. Maybe reliving things. Like in Superman's case, he's reliving, that time period of life when John was a kid. And you have, Aquaman getting to have all of his family together for a wedding. You have, and it goes on down the line. And here we have John Stewart, Green Lantern John Stewart. And Green Lantern John Stewart, you find out in his little dreamland that he has kind of put together his own special ops Green Lantern team. And they're called the Guardians. And the Guardians basically kind of watch things on Earth. It started out they were there to watch things on Earth and keep, hold Earth down while the Green Lanterns, primary Green Lanterns were off, doing stuff. Well, then it became something where it was like, okay, so I've established this team. John Stewart goes ahead and he kind of retires, right? And he gets to live on the farm and hang out with his family, and it's really cool. And this issue was the issue we were supposed to be getting a Jason Todd Green Lantern, and we got it. We got it, guys. We got the Jason Todd Green Lantern. I would have liked to have seen more with that, yes. And that to me, it just seems like that it was kind of talked up a little bit more than actually delivered in the media. And I'm going to say that I do kind of like the idea that it seems like it's kind of like an honor. It's kind of like, as a fan of Jason Todd, as a fan of Red Hood, that being chosen to be one of these people, this special ops Green Lantern group, to be the Guardians of Earth, it seems like it's probably something that would be like an honor. So that's kind of nice. Hawk Girl's story right after that is a secondary tale in the Green Lantern book. Hawk Girl story was awesome. Where you have, if you understand the overall concept of Hawk Girl, she is pursuing in her little setup. She is pursuing a world in a being where she doesn't have to constantly be reincarnated. Which, you can kind of understand that. Yeah, I guess you can kind of understand that. Yeah, I can kind of understand that. She just doesn't want to do it anymore. And that makes sense considering, well, it's Hawk Girl. So the next one we're going to talk about is Blood Syndicate. Blood Syndicate number 4. Guys, I want to like this. I want really bad to like Blood Syndicate. But I gotta be honest with you, it's not making much sense to me. And it seems they're trying to make an effort with this one where they've put in, like headers where it's like so many minutes ago throughout the book. But that hasn't helped nearly enough as it needs to. And when you have the fact that the whole book for the last 4 issues does not really streamline well. I understand and get the presence of at least 2, maybe 3 characters that I can remember their names, and remember the reason they're there, and remember where they came from. At the most. The progression and all that of the entire story, I don't know what's going on. And I'm not the only one that has said it. I do not know where this is going. I don't know where it's been. I mean, I'm not the only one saying it. We need something to change involving that book for it to be worthwhile for me. Like I said, I want to like it. I want to like it so much because of the deep history of Milestone and that series. But I don't know right now, guys. I just don't know. Moving on to series I am liking, Nubia and the Amazons. This is number 3 of 4. So here's the thing that DC seems to be doing. They're doing these things where they do mini series rather than just giving a character an ongoing. And right now we've had at least 2 main title, including this, 2 main title series for Nubia. And this one is interesting. I really kind of like, rather than just putting in there a difference in time by putting a header or what have you, we have other kinds of choices in the presentation of the book. And I'm trying to find a really great example of this that is meant to cut down on any kind of confusion. So when you have, excuse me, when you have certain, right now in Nubia, we have a situation where Nubia is starting to remember who she was before she came through the well. So when you see this, you're seeing her coming in contact with someone that she knew when she was, before she went through the well, before she died and then went through the well. Because if you are not aware, basically, to be an Amazon to come through the well, that means that you have died a violent death at the hands of man, and the well basically gives you another life. So you have, when it goes to kind of like this past kind of situation like that, they took this really cool kind of sepia tone um, to what to the art, and I really kind of like that. It was like, because when you think about sepia tones in photography, you think of antique, from the past, and I kind of like that in the design of what you're seeing in Nubia, where you have everything normal and normal, viewpoint, and then when you go and you're like, oh, here we're going to the past, it's all sepia toned, and that kind of happens. I think it also happens in both Syndicate, if I remember correctly, but it's been a bit since I've read it, where there's like a change and it goes to this sepia tone to show that this flashback. That's what I'm trying to think of. It shows a flashback. I like that decision. I do think that that's nice. It's a way that you can do something like that. Show the difference in a time period without actually having to be like, hey guys, this happened like 100 years ago. You know, um, it shows you without having to tell you. Because guys, when it comes right down to it, that's what comic books are. This is, with a book, you're obviously tell me, don't show me, and comic books are show me, don't tell me. So, uh, so next up on the hit parade, we're going to talk about I Am Batman number 12. Obviously, this is the Jace Fox Batman. And he is still hanging around with Renee Montoya's The Question. And they are basically kind of looking at the death of Anarchy, which, if you've been reading I Am Batman Anarchy, Anarchy's supposed killer was actually being represented by Tanya Fox, which is Jace's mother. And Anarchy was killed, but they come and find out that the guy that they originally thought killed Anarchy really did not do it. So he went free, right? But they're trying to figure out what happened. Now, there are other stories happening around all of this. They're trying to kind of figure out what happened with Anarchy. It seems like Anarchy was somebody that's kind of misunderstood. There's a possibility of that. There's also the possibility, when it comes to I Am Batman, that Jace Fox's Batman is probably going to be taking a Robin. And if Jace Fox's Batman takes Robin, I know gosh darn well who that will be. If you're reading the book, it's like, it's all but to tell you, guys, here we're telling you about something that's going to happen in the future. Because honestly, his little sister, Tam, is it Tam? Yeah, is probably, she's got this inkling. She feels kind of lost, it seems. Last few issues, Everybody has their thing that they're doing in New York City. And she feels kind of lost because basically all that's expected of her is go to school, get good grades, and deal with it. And she wants more. And it's perfect kind of storm for us to kind of see somebody becoming a Robin. But she is, you know what, let's not get ahead of ourselves and compare Robins here because she's not a Robin yet. But we'll put a pin in that and come back to that if we need to. Because I definitely see in her a certain type of Robin. And we've seen different types of Robins throughout Bruce Wayne's Batman history. And there's an archetype. There's a number of archetypes of the different types of Robins. And you definitely see it with her as well. We'll put a pin in that one, and we'll come back to that one later because that would be kind of cool to think about if it comes to it. Okay, guys, we are on to our last 3 books for this week or for the show. To the only 3 books I read this week. I only had 3 books to read this week. I cut back on my comics quite a bit. Now, granted, I have already gotten my books for next week as well. So this is next week. And some of this week that I didn't read that were just stuff that Joe would read. But it's only like a few of those in the stack. So those are mostly, variants. A couple variants of other ones in there. And stuff that I would be reading. So the list is going to be a lot bigger next week, just so you know. First one we're going to talk about. Let's see here. What do I want to talk about first? Let's go ahead and talk about Harley Quinn number 20. Like I was mentioning before, Harley Quinn is weekly, and this is another one where it's like not a lot happens. The charm of taking Harley and putting her in this situation where she's in Task Force XX and in space and with all these people, taking her and putting her in that situation, it takes away some of the charm that makes Harley so much fun to read on a normal basis. Now, does Harley still do some of her quips and stuff like that? Yes, indeedy. She does very much still have some of that stuff there and happening. But it just seems like there's a little bit of the thrill is gone in this situation. That's okay. We're going to move right along, and we've got 21 next week, and then we'll have the annual, and then there's that special 30th anniversary special before we get back into monthly Harley Quinn. So we'll see. We'll see how let's reserve any more judgment further than just talking about the series as issue until the series is actually over. And speaking of which, of course, for the monthly series. But here we go. We have Harley Quinn is still in the Justice League abandoned moon station. But now we have a situation where this element has now not only taken over Lashida from the New Gods, but also Solomon Grundy is in trouble as well. Now there's a transporter that is working. The transporter has now taken this thing to Earth. So that's a bummer. So we'll have to see what happens with that one. Maybe the fact that this really nasty thing is on Earth now will maybe amp up the energy here. The thing is a character like Harley Quinn has paid her dues, is fun and interesting to read, written like she is fun and interesting and intelligent. To have to be put in the situation where she's being thrown on the moon with a bunch of other people that nobody really knows all that much about, characters that nobody really knows all that much about, and Solomon Grundy. Because everybody knows about Solomon Grundy. Okay, come on. Like, you know about Solomon Grundy. Especially if you've been reading Harley lately, because Solomon Grundy's like one of Harley's good friends, you know? But one of the things that I gotta tell you guys, I miss Kevin. We need Kevin back. I miss Kevin. So get me Kevin back. Amp up this story a little bit more, and we'll see what happens. Catwoman number 46. Tango with Traitors. Okay, so things are it's a hot seat for Catwoman in Gotham right now. Catwoman is looking to get out of Dodge, and so if you are familiar with the history of Catwoman, you know that not only Selena Kyle has been Catwoman, other people have been Catwoman. And this is canon for Catwoman as a whole, and it is also recently canon because it does get mentioned in this book that Echo, Echo, I was Echo. I am probably pronouncing that all sorts of horrible ways wrong. She was one of these Catwomen, excuse me. So one of the themes that's kind of being thrown around in Catwoman is the idea that basically fuck the patriarchy. You have women not being given their due, men trafficking women, and overall just shittiness overall. And it's a theme. The theme overall encompassing, I think, of Catwoman lately is fuck the patriarchy. Fuck the patriarchy. Give women their due. If you don't, it's probably going to piss them off. And they're going to break your mask. They're going to mess up your human trafficking. And, oh, by the way, they're going to work with your enemy to help your enemy leave town and then take the identity back of your enemy to become Catwoman again. Which is basically what we got going on here. We have Selena getting out of town, and we have Echo donning the suit again. This all is basically after making it look like Catwoman was killed. Yeah. So that is Selena on the bike with her friend and partner Valmont, and Eiko in her own Catwoman suit. I am overall loving this story. I love that it's basically like Catwoman being a detective, and I love that it gives us in the first few pages, kind of she's talking about how that would be with Bruce, and how she misses him because not only Was it fun to argue with him? Yeah, quite literally, she says, not only was it fun to argue with him, but also because he gave me my due. He treated me like an equal. And that's important to her. That's important to anyone. Okay, if you're wondering, is it important to such and such woman in my life to be treated as an equal to myself? The answer is yes. It is important. I'm gonna have to say, I'm gonna go out on a limb here, guys, because I am a woman. I know other women like me that if they were asked, is it important for the men in your life, for your partners, okay? Because not everyone has not all females have male partners, but for your partners, in life, love, work, everything, to treat you as an equal, I'm gonna have to say yes. And to not only, for Selena really loves the idea that she's not only treated as an equal, but Selena also loves the idea that she could rely on Bruce as an equal. And yeah, that's, yeah. The women in your life want to be treated as equals. Just, there you go. Yeah. Some women are lucky. I feel I'm overwhelming. I'm overall lucky. People in my life that are close to me obviously treat me as an equal, but we have a lot of instances where we do see that, where women are not really treated as equals, and that's one of the things that we have kind of encountered as a theme here in Catwoman. And it really, if I didn't assess anything being the issue of the week here, but I am loving that theme. This was an issue of the week contender if I went ahead and did that this week. Since I didn't, oh well. But it was really a contender. I didn't do an issue of the week because I had 3 freaking books that I read from this week. Okay, so yeah, I just said screw it. But it really was, because it's been consistent. To me, on my opinion, it's been consistent every week. And it doesn't have to hit you over the head with that theme for you to, one, understand it, and 2, be like, yeah, girl, I get you. Last book that we're going to talk about this evening is Nightwing Number 95. So when we last left our hero, Nightwing's sister, Dick Grayson's half-sister, Melinda Zucco, the mayor of Bloodhaven, had been taken hostage by Blockbuster, because Blockbuster knows that she has been working with Dick Grayson and Nightwing. Both Blockbusters, pains in his ass, right, is Dick Grayson and Nightwing. Little does he know at the beginning of this issue that they are the same person. So at the beginning of the issue, he didn't know that they were the same person. But let me tell you something, by the end of the issue, Blockbuster knows that, surprise, surprise, Dick Grayson is Nightwing. And whoops, that is literally the end of the book. But before that, basically, we have a situation where we have a new police commissioner of Bloodhaven. We have everybody trying to work with her. And she seems like a good person. She's really just trying to figure out who's, on Blockbuster's payroll, who is not in her police force. It's not working necessarily the best. Yes, I did. I did see it. And yeah. And you know what the thing is like, I did see it. And basically what I would recommend is just catching on the replay where I talk about it. Also, I did do a little bit of a live tweeting session this evening while watching it. So yes, I did watch it. Be interesting to see how this kind of works out with people's own ambitions versus loyalty, and we'll have to see it, and I'll have to see more dragons. I want more dragons. I love dragons. Oh, okay. So, I'm guessing then you were on the West Coast because I would imagine that would be why. Yeah, yeah. So, um, definitely, I would recommend coming back, watching the beginning of my show on the replay when you are done watching it, and see what you think. Um, some cool, not gonna, so just join us. I'm not gonna tell you anything spoilery. Some cool callbacks to things that are a part of Game of Thrones, The Song of Ice and Fire mythos, and stuff that you heard about and or saw in um, Game of Thrones come up, and it's pretty cool. So that's all I'll tell you. But yeah. So Nightwing, back to Nightwing. So we have basically Nightwing and Batwoman go to visit the commissioner, the new commissioner. Apparently, Batwoman and the new commissioner has some history, from what I understand. Um, and yes, they were supposed to get married. That was the history for them. Also, they get all this information, this intel that basically puts them in a position to take basically organized crime and really just kind of drive a stake in its heart. And they know of a number of different things going down that particular night. And so you get the Teen Titans involved. You get Batman involved. You got Batwoman involved. You've got the entire Bat family and the Teen Titans involved in taking all this shit down. I mean, you've got Starfire, you've got Donna Troy, you've got, all these really cool characters all coming together to do like a little team up, take everything out, and then you have Nightwing facing Blockbuster. And they fight, and literally Blockbuster kind of just like knocks the mask off of Nightwing, and he's like, oh wait, surprise, Dick Grayson is Nightwing. And that's basically where the whole entire issue ended. So yeah, when it comes right down to it, this week I had 3 comics that I read. Like I said, if there were more comics, it would be a dead heat for comic of the week between Catwoman and Nightwing. But like I said, I did not choose a comic of the week because it seemed pointless when I just had a few comics this week. And I really didn't choose a comic of the week last week either, because I didn't. This is my channel, and I'll do what I want. So that's it, guys. I am done. I am done talking to you about House of Dragon and comic books. So I just actually, if this had not taken like practically an hour, I had actually just finished their Dark Designs storyline of Batman yesterday. I just finished it yesterday. I would have talked about that, but I'm not going to keep you guys much longer than an hour. Anyways, I'll have to probably figure out another way. Do another video, talk about Batman, Their Dark Designs, which is basically the Tinian storyline right after Tom King's run ended and right before the Joker War. So basically, it is your storyline lead up to the Joker War. I really did enjoy it. Short answer right now, longer answer later. But anyways, guys, that's it for me. I had a fun time watching The House of the Dragon and retweeting it or tweeting it while I was watching it. Had a fun time talking to you guys here. Thanks for joining us if you joined us. If not, thanks for watching on the replay. So until next time, I'll be seeing you guys. Bye.